What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is Leo's Nerd Talk, and today we're talking about Superman Returns. So let's get into that. Hi, my name is Leo, and if you guys like talking about movie, TV show, video game related, or just anything nerdy, you are in the right place. And like I said, today we are talking about Superman Returns. Without further ado, let's get into the review. I was pretty excited to check out the Superman movie, especially since, according to IMDb, this is the third highest rating Superman film that came out, I believe, 2006. So I was pretty excited to see what this was going to bring. I didn't know too much about it. Like, I didn't read any synopsis or plot points. I didn't watch any trailers before checking the movie. I went into this pretty blind, so I didn't know if this was supposed to be like a reboot or continuing the Christopher Reeves movies, but with a recast. I'm not sure what direction this movie was really going. But essentially what goes on here is Superman hears that Krypton has been found somehow by astrologers and stuff like that. And he leaves Earth after being Superman for quite a bit of time. And he leaves Earth for about 5 years to see these astrologers that supposedly found the planet were right, and him finding out that they were wrong, and him coming back to Earth to relive up to his name as Superman after seemingly the Earth has kind of already forgotten about him and started to live their lives day by day without having a superhero around like they used to. But before I give you all my pros and cons about Superman Returns, let me know if you guys have seen this movie before. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. We are days away from James Gunn's new Superman, so I'm super excited for that. I'm almost done with this review series. I have a couple more movies to go, so hopefully I can get them all out before I watch that one. But definitely let me know your guys' excitement in the comment section down below. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get straight into my pros. And start with my pros, I think this movie is very epic in a lot of sense when it comes to the action that they put Superman in. The flying sequences are done very well. That was one of the big complaints that I've had about the Christopher Reeves movie series, but you know, understandably so. Those are, 40-plus-year-old movies where, the flying sequences were done really poorly back then. The action sequences were limited to the technology and the times, of course. This has a pretty big fix. So there is a lot of great moments in this movie where Superman is straight into the action. Like, you have of course, the infamous plane sequence where he catches the plane right over a baseball stadium. I thought that was done absolutely amazing. Definitely got me hyped up for the rest of the movie. You have the sequence where Lex Luthor is starting to build his lair, and it's causing havoc all through Metropolis. And you have Superman just flying back and forth between the city, saving this person, catching this item, stopping fires, and just booming back and forth. And I thought that whole sequence was absolutely amazing. And especially when he catches the Daily Planet statue that's above the building, that moment gave me chills because the score hits so good in that moment, where it just put a huge smile on my face. And I thought those moments were absolutely amazing. So a lot of the flying sequences, like the battles, or just seeing Superman saving people left and right, going through tunnels and flying and catching ginormous objects, I thought all that was done very well. Definitely put a smile on my face. Definitely got me hyped for the rest of the movie. And I thought, even though you can definitely tell that CGI was used in these moments, it never took me out of it. It never bothered me. I thought the CGI was actually done very well. And while it does have an early 2000s CGI feel, again, it never took me out of it. And I thought all of it looked extremely epic, and it got me more excited to see what James Gunn is going to do in his movie. I also enjoy our Lex Luthor in this movie. Essentially what he's trying to do is he found the Fortress of Solitude, and he found the crystals that create the Fortress of Solitude, and he's trying to combine them with kryptonite to make his own kind of fortress, so that the fortress itself is infused with kryptonite, so Superman can't go there and stop him, because every time he goes there, he is starting to get affected by the kryptonite, gets weakened, and can possibly get killed. So I thought that was a pretty interesting idea. That's a pretty big plan for Lex Luthor, essentially building a brand new continent on the Earth. And his plan was also to kind of sink half of the United States so that he has the main land, and he can start selling land and stuff like that. And he kind of he controls a big portion of the Earth at that point, and especially controlling a portion that Superman can't go to because the land is infused with kryptonite. So I thought that was a pretty awesome kind of plan for Lex Luthor, something a little bit different. I feel like every time in Christopher Reeves, it was always something about bombing this, bombing that. But of course, ultimately, it's for making money for Lex Luthor, and he is I think pretty smart in this one as well. I enjoy the actor. I can't remember his name, but I think he does a fairly good job of portraying Lex Luthor. I found him to be pretty intimidating for the most part. You have some goofy moments here and there, like you kind of always do with these Superman movies, but for the most part, I think he did a very, very great job and had intimidating moments and was definitely a great feat or a great enemy against Superman in this movie. And I kind of spoke on it a little bit earlier, but ultimately the score in this movie is absolutely amazing. Like I said, during that moment where he catches the Daily Planet statue that's on top of the building, where the score hit, it gave me chills. But overall, the score throughout the whole movie is done very, very well. We still get that iconic Superman theme song here and there as well. So absolutely love the score in this film. I thought it complemented the movie so well, and especially during those epic moments, I thought it did a fantastic job with the score. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into my cons, and let's start with the big one, Superman himself. I think his name is Brandon Routh, something like that. I think as Superman, I think he does a pretty good job. I enjoy him as Superman, especially again during those really epic moments when he's saving people, going back and forth, flying around. I thought he did pretty cool. And he does have some sort of like intimidation to him when he's flying around. Like you can definitely feel his presence. Where I think it fell short was him as Clark Kent. I don't think he really captured the nature of the Clark Kent character throughout the whole movie. I found him to be a little stiff, not really portraying that kind of like person that doesn't have confidence in himself. I think it didn't feel right when every time he was in his Clark Kent attire and Clark Kent mode. I just felt like there was something missing off of it. I'm not sure what it was, and I'm not sure if this is a hot topic that I'm not sure how many people enjoyed the Superman portrayal. But for me, it just didn't work fully. Even when he was doing his epic stuff as Superman himself, where I did enjoy him a lot more and being Superman and not Clark Kent, there's still times where I thought it just didn't work. He didn't fit the Superman that I would personally would like. I still enjoy the movie overall, and I think he does a decent job. But as a full package, it's not a Superman that I would continuously want to rewatch, or would even be upset that, or excuse me, if there was like sequels and stuff like that. It's not something that I'll be very excited to be like, oh yeah, like I remember that Superman, I want to watch him again. It's not. I just don't think he portrays Superman the best. And I do think this movie drags quite a bit. I think this movie is about 30 to 40 minutes too long, to be honest. I mean, this is I believe the longest Superman movie at 2 hours and 35 minutes. And that's pretty crazy to think about. I mean, most of these Superman movies besides Superman 4 are all over 2 hours. And this one definitely, I felt the length pretty heavily. Besides all those really cool epic moments with Superman saving people, there is a lot of downtime. There's a lot of talking versus characters that I don't really particularly invest myself too much into. Like I already spoke about Superman himself, but things like Lois Lane, I didn't really care too much for her character. I didn't think she really fit the Lois Lane character. Again, similar to Superman, I just don't think it's a great portrayal of that character. We have like even like I forget what his name is, but like the manager or chief, whatever's of the newspaper article place. I don't think he was that great of a character either. There was just a lot of characters that felt like they had no chemistry with each other. Characters I didn't really care about, and you had storylines that were supposed to be like kind of heartfelt, or you're supposed to feel for someone, but you end up not really investing yourself in that character, because I think the portrayal is kind of weak for a lot of the cast that we get here in this movie. And that adds on to just how long this movie feels, because again, you're not invested in these characters and you're spending a lot of time with them, so you just end up being pretty bored. It feels very dragged out, and you just want the movie to pick up the pace and get going, because when the epic moments happen, they are epic and they are fun and they re-engage you. But then we get a lot of downtime, and that's where I think a lot of this, where it hurts this movie a lot for being such a long film. This at most should have been 2 hours, not 2:35. And while I do think Lex Luthor's plan was pretty good, I like the overall idea of it, but I think through a majority of the movie, I never felt a threat for Superman until, later in the second act into the third act. I felt like Lex Luthor was, plotting and scheming for the most part throughout the entire film, and we didn't really feel like he was a threat to Superman until towards the end, right? So I feel like most of the time that's where it also drags a lot, because we don't really feel a looming threat over our heads throughout the entire movie. At least I personally didn't. You know, I felt like Superman was kind of just flying around doing his thing for most of the movie. So again, I wish even Lex Luthor felt like more of a threat, even though I do like what he's trying to do. The idea, it feels very menacing and intimidating, but the looming threat over our heads throughout the whole movie just feels a little lacking. But that is going to be it for this one, guys. This movie was honestly pretty enjoyable. I would like to rewatch it again. I think this is one of the movies out of all the Superman movies is probably the most rewatchable, because it's a little bit more modern. I still enjoyed the Christopher Reeves original one way better than this one. I think that's more of a masterpiece, and this is more of like a schlocky entertainment fun. But overall, I would recommend this to people to watch it if you've never seen it and you enjoy Superman. It's fun enough, but it's definitely not the best. But again, if you guys like talking about movie, TV show, video game related, or just anything nerdy, you are in the right place. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you.